And then he puts on the condom and he's just like, ew, is this gonna wash off my hair curler?
I am simply woman made of gold.
Read a lot reporting for... So hard being famous. These are all the books I got in this. Why am I yelling? Oh. Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Jackie Sylvester here, author of the YA novel Wonder Kids. I'd love to show you a copy, but I just don't have any lying around.
Link below.
Today, I'm kicking things off with story time, and I'm gonna tell you the first time I went to visit a gynecologist in Russia. Let me tell you of the time I showed my vagina to a random man in the forest.
It was the year 2009.
There were these massive fires, and I was visiting my dad in Moscow, and the smoke was actually so thick that my grandma was throwing up, my brother had breathing issues, and I was really not feeling well as well. Because we were all really sick, my dad was like, get in the car, we're gonna drive somewhere where there isn't any smoke in the sky. Literally drove and drove and drove and drove until we got somewhere where there wasn't ash falling from the sky. And we ended up in a place outside of a town called Kostroma. We ended up in this hotel, which was something you call a sanatoriy. A sanatoriy is a Soviet resting house. So we're staying at this sanatoriy of Ivan Susanin, where these Soviet-style women lug around carts of elk milk. I'm not kidding, and it was delicious. If this couldn't get any crazier, I start to get really sick. I'm having all these cramps, I have stomach problems, I'm seeing doctor after doctor in this sanatoriy. None of them can help me, and they're like, right, you need to go see the gynecologist in a nearby town in their hospital unit. We arrive at the hospital. There were holes and there were doors missing, and I don't deal with doctors very well anyway, so I was kind of like, So I arrive into the office of the gynecologist with my father. It's behind a curtain. Literally, the door is a curtain. So I walk in and my dad sits there, and this guy, this old grumpy man with a giant mustache is sitting there, and he's not like, welcome, let me make you comfortable. He doesn't even look at me. And we sit down and he's like, what's the problem? And I'm like, oh, well, I have these cramps. And he turns to me and he's like, do you live the floor life?
What?
I speak Russian. I don't know like colloquialisms or like special terms. And basically what he was asking me is, did I get freaky? Did I live that floor life? Because the root of the word floor is the root of the word organ. So then they're like, do you live that organ life? But they don't mean like stealing organs or like playing the organ. It's like, and I just look at my dad, who knew nothing about my private life. And I'm like, what does it mean? And then my dad's like, it means sex. And I was like, okay, can you please leave? Okay, so he leaves, you know, closing the curtain, which is a door. And he's waiting in the lobby. This guy's staring at me and I'm like, yeah, I do live that floor life. Not much, but like a little bit. And then he's like, go wash yourself. And I'm like, excuse me? He points at a little tub. You know those little tubs that your grandma's own that they don't want to throw away because they're still washing laundry in it since the 50s? And you're like, Grandma, we have a washing machine. And she's like, but plastic tub, I can't throw away, valuable. So he has one of those little, like, in Russian we call it tazik. There's like this little tazik and like this little like pull away shower thingy. And I'm like, and I just look at him like, and I'm like, I'm clean. I showered today. Because I was like, how am I gonna get like squat real low into this little like tub and just be like washing my privates with him right there? Doesn't make sense. So he was like, oh, fine, whatever. And it was already getting awkward, and then he turns to me again and he's like, did you bring a condom? Now this is really where I'm like, okay, there is no way that this is a misunderstanding of colloquialisms. He just asked me if I brought a condom. He gon' fuck me. He gon' try to fuck me. I got really scared. And I was like, I'm gonna go see my dad. Open the curtain, go to see my dad. And I'm like, Daddy's asking me if I have a condom. He's asking me if I have a condom. And then Dad's like, oh, what? And he goes to like the kind of nurse that's like looking over everything. And he's like, the doctor asked my daughter if she brought a condom. And the nurse is like, well, you should really bring your own. But here's one. Giving my dad the condom. So my dad has the condom and he's like, here you go. And I'm like, what's it for? I don't want to have sex with him. And the nurse is like, no, it's for an ultrasound. And I'm like, okay, like I've seen the videos where like women are pregnant and they ultrasound them. And I'm like, so maybe like they don't want it to touch your belly. And I made up a story. I'm a writer. I made up a story in my head. So I'm like, okay, Dad, thanks for the condom. I'm gonna go close the curtain. I get back in there. I'm like, here you go, sir. Here's the condom you asked for. So he's just staring at me, and I'm staring at him, and he's staring at me. And I'm like, I don't know what you expect from me, sir. So he's staring at me, and he's like, ugh. Opens up the condom. Ew, I haven't touched one of the, gross. I forgot these are all squirmy, liquidy, disgusting. And then he pulls out something that looks like this. That's when I was so fucking scared. This is my curling iron from Primark, but this is what he pulled out. So, and then he puts on the condom and he's just like, ew, is this gonna wash off my hair curler? And he's just looking at me expectantly like I am the dumbest person in the world. And he's like, are you going to open your legs, you fucking idiot? So then it hits me. He's gonna put that thing in my vagina. I'm not proud of what happened next, but I ran. I ran into the other room and I grabbed my dad and I was like, I want to leave. And he was like, well, did you get what you needed? And I was like, no, I want to leave now. And so I take him by the hand and we run, except we went the wrong way. So we ended up in the emergency room. If you think that was bad, you should have seen the ER. The ER was bad. It was bad. So we make it all the way back. The doctors are still treating me at the sanatory with the elk milk and steamed meat. And we make it back to Moscow. Some of the fires have died down and my dad's like, all right, now I'm gonna take you to a really fancy clinic because, you know, you've been through some shit and I'm gonna take you to a really fancy clinic so we can really find out what's wrong with you. So he takes me to a fancy clinic. We walk in and, like, you know, as much as bad in Russia means like bad, like real bad, fancy in Russia means like fancy as fuck, like fancy. Like, I would like coat made of diamonds and child flesh. So we walk in and there's like a harpist playing on the harp. And I'm like, okay, living that good life now. I can put everything behind me. And they start to run tests on me, which was terrible. I go into one room and they strap me into this like S&M looking thing and they're making me drink chalk. Like they're like, here's, you know, a milkshake, but it's actually just chalk. So I'm drinking it and I'm throwing it up on my naked boobs and they're looking at me and they're like, please stop throwing up the chalk. It's valuable, like condom. They're checking me for ulcers. They put me in this machine that swirled me up and down, up and down, so that the white liquid could just, you know, go swirling up and down. I feel it was medicine from the 50s. There's got to be some better way. Anyway, so they decided it wasn't an ulcer. So then they're like, she has appendicitis. They get me on the table and they're about to take me to get my appendix out when they're like, you know what? Maybe it's not your appendix. And I'm like, no? What is it then? What is it? Ask the fucking harpist. They are like, go to the gynecologist upstairs. I'm like, oh God, this again. I go to the gynecologist, you know, get on that lovely table they've got spread wide. And she's like, she looks at me, and this is one of the fanciest places in Moscow. She looks at me and she goes, well, are you proud of yourself? And I look at her and I'm like, well, I get good grades and stuff, so I don't know. I think my mom's proud of me. And then she's like, no, are you proud of what you've done to your vagina? And I'm like, well, I haven't done anything that bad to my vagina, so I don't know what you're talking about. And it's just kind of digs around. And one thing I'll never forget is she took a full-on bottle of iodine. It was just like one of those like ketchup dispensary type bottles, like pfft. It was just like pfft, hosing me down with iodine. And she was like, and I was like, ah! And she was like, are you proud of yourself? Are you proud of yourself? And I was like, the fuck? And then it turned out that I had put in 2 new rings. So. That was my fun story about the time I visited a gynecologist in the middle of nowhere, Russia. If you want more of these stories, subscribe, comment below, let me know. I have got an arsenal of crazy life stories. And see. If your vagina look like this, hey, we've got a problem. You can go see your waxing lady. This is cute. I should wear this more often.